Now we are going to see about route handler. So route handler means we can use request and response objects to create our route in route handler. So to create route handler, we need to create a API folder under app, and inside the API we can create our own routes. For example, I create a user, so then I create a file route.js. Right, for UI we use page.js, for route API route we use route.js. So inside our route.js we create a function. We can use get method or post, any method we can use. So we just need to use export async function get. So for to use post, we can use post method, just the name only changes. For now we just return a response dot json data. So to access this route we need to use /api/user. So let us see /api/user. Now we get our data. So this is the basic route in route handler. We can also fetch data inside the route handler. So why we use route handler means, usually we use to fetch data in client components using route handler. Every component by default is server, so when fetching data inside server we directly create a function in async and fetch data in that function inside the server. But when using client component we need to call API, so we call our route handler and we fetch the data. So inside route handler we can have a fetch function. So we can also have a request parameter. So I am console logging it. So the log will be shown in our terminal. So you can see the request object gives many useful methods like URL. So this is the request object gives useful method URL and cookies and many other methods we can use using the request object. We can also use the NextResponse. We can also use NextResponse, which is given by the Next.js. This extends our normal response. Both gives same response, but NextResponse have some additional methods. We can also use that. So for now we fetch a data and send to the front end. So I am fetching a data using the dummy JSON API. And we need to return the response. I am using NextResponse. So in front end we need to call the route. So I am using client component to fetch data. So inside the component I am creating a function which is a async function, and now we can use the route here. So /API/user. Now I am console logging the data. So by using use effect we call the function here. So that's all. Now we can see in our home page the data is here in the console. So you can see the data. So this is how basic fetching will happen using route handler with client component. So when talking about fetch, this fetch is extended by Nest.js. So this fetch is memorized and catched. So we see these terms more in catching section of this tutorial. For time being, you know some basic details. So we can use the fetch many times, but it will call only once. So this fetch is also memorized. So if I again call the same fetch without changing any parameters, the only one response will be done to the server, because that function is memorized and data is catched. So we can do some modifications here, like catch, no catch. So this will recall the fetch once again when we call the fetch again and again. So there is no catch will be stored. So the fetch will be called whenever needed when we call the function. So and the again is force catch. This will catch always. So it will always catch. So we can also revalidate our data after some time. So we need to use nest object. Inside we can have revalidate. So and it is seconds. So I am giving 20 seconds. So after the 20 seconds, data will be revalidated. So to understand this revalidate, we can go to catching section in documentation and time based revalidation. In this image you can easily understand the revalidation. So don't see these terms, we will cover in catching section. First the fetch will happen, then we get the data. So it is less than 60 seconds. So again the fetch will happen less than 60 seconds. So again the same data will be set. So if time is more than 60 seconds, so again the fetch will happen, but we are not fetching the new data, we are getting the same data, that is previous data we thought stale data. So again the stale data is sent to the client, but in that situation after sending we revalidate our fetch. So revalidation happens and the data is set. So again we go to that page, we see our new data. So immediately we will not get the new data using revalidate. So when we go to the page it will revalidate, and when we again refresh we get the new data. So this is how revalidate happen. For immediately we need to revalidate, means we need to use on demand revalidation. We have seen in the tutorial later. So next what else we can do apart from fetch, means we can do many things in the route. For example, I will show some examples. So first let us clean this. So we can get, for example, we can get the search params using request method. So how we get means, so first we need to, we already seen in the area this as a search params. So we can get this by destructuring the search params, new URL request.url. By this we get our search param. If you have any search param, like ID or anything, we can get this by, so for example slash API /user Toshinmal ID equal to 2. So now we get this ID using this search param. So we can also have another method, like we can using the URL, but request has some special methods, that is next URL. This next URL is extended by normal URL. Normal URL, this next URL extends normal URL, so we can use this to easily get search params. So request.next URL dot search params. So from this we get the search param. So we can also do like this. So for more information we can refer dots. Also this get method is catched because everything in this case will be catched, so we can change the behavior. So the route handler with get method without request, this will be catched, this response will be catched. So to OPT out of catching we can do some things like they told in the documentation. So catching, so route handlers are catched by default when using get method with response object. So to OPT out of catching we need to use request object with get method, or we can use any other HTTP method. So what HTTP methods available means we can have get, post, put, delete, ed options, these methods available. Other than get we using means it will not catch it. Then using dynamic functions like cookies, headers, these things we are using means these are also not catched. Then using segment config options, this makes our route dynamic, so this will also not catch it. So what this means this will make the route like this dynamic or dynamic params. We can set the route fully with segment config options. We will see this later. So there are many examples available. This is we now seeing revalidate, and there are many other examples like headers, import headers from next headers, and getting the header and setting the header, and redirects, cookies, and other many things we are having. We are also have dynamic route segment. For in the dynamic route.js we have a params. So I forgot to tell the thing. So we can have route.js not only inside API, we can have route.js in anywhere like page.js. For example, under the user route I create a route.js. So I create a basic function. So I am using a normal response. So when we navigate to /user, we will see the response. We can check /user, we can see the response. So it is similar to page.js. So we can use where we want route.js we can use, but we not use both page.js and route.js in the same area. For example, we cannot be able to use page.js inside the user because we already use route.js. So this is a feature, so we can use in anything we want. So likewise they are using the route.js under dynamic segment, so they are getting the params. So and they are using the params for fetching or anything. So this is we seen the query params, and they are using an example of OpenAI to streaming and getting the response body with request.json and returning the response, and we are getting the form data and setting tasks, webboot, and we can also send non-UI response. We can also send any XML or any other non-UI response to our front end. So this is the basic about route.js and route handler. You can refer these examples for more details about cookies, headers and other things.